Well, I'd like to welcome all of you to Certified Payroll Training on the web app system. And we're going to start with jumping into a test company. So I do want to confirm that I'm in the test environment. None of these are real people. None of this is anyone's data. I'm going to jump in to my main test area, Gina's test company. And we're going to talk right out of the gate. I'd encourage you from the November payroll release notes to print pages 11 through 15. It's kind of the order that we're going to go along with and check off and make sure that I've touched on everything that we've put in the release notes. And again, I said, that you can submit questions, and I will definitely stop at strategic times and answer the question box and give you a chance to raise your hand and unmute you to ask questions as well. So one of the things very specific to and has caused some point of clarification needed is that an earning code to be considered certified has to be set up as a certified code. And that's one requirement. I think the bigger requirement that maybe obviously isn't in the release notes because we are only addressing certified payroll is the fact that a regular payroll earning and a certified payroll earning, never the twain shall meet. And what I mean by that is you can have an employee in a company and they can work regular standard hours and they can have certified earnings. So a single individual can earn both certified earnings and regular earnings, but you cannot use the certified earning code independently as a catch-all for all items. Now I say you can't. You certainly could, but you will see very quickly when we move into the payroll module that there are so many specifications to that certified payroll earning that you would be locking yourself down and committing to always giving a to and from date, always tying that earning out to a cost center for work site and a cost center for work classification. So it may not be desirable to just try to have a certified earning be a standard earning across the company for every situation. And I'm the person that QA'd this functionality, and I personally would not recommend it at all. I would recommend you set up your certified earnings specific to use and only be pulled in for certified payroll, but that's just for ease of use. So we'll start with step one. There's no functionality that you need to turn on. So if some of you are kind of expecting me to go to the edit company level, back out on the edit company view and enable something, et cetera, nothing needs to be enabled. It's just an inherent built-in feature of the system. But in adding a new code, I definitely am going to cite that code right out of the gate as certified or not. And if I don't, if I miss that step and I move into the earning and then thus use that earning, I'm not going to have an opportunity to back away from that earning and make it certified. So right now, I'm choosing overtime. I already have certified overtime in here, so I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a 2.0, and I'm going to label this double time for certified payroll. I don't know where my new earning code just went, so I apologize about that. I've hit a thing already. Let me try that one more time. Usually it would take me right to the setting for that, so I apologize. And it's stopping me. Obviously, it's telling me that in payroll categories required. That's what I expected to happen. So for my ease of use, and again, why this is important is as you're going to try to pull these items into the pay statement, you're going to want them labeled in ways that you can understand the entry. So I'm choosing to call my earning code certified pay, double pay. You want it easily legible to that situation as they're going to be used. I do have the ability, and we're going to walk through each of these areas in a moment, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the cost centers here, but I could, for certified double pay, tie it out to a default certified job, work class, or classification. I'm not going to do that today, but as in with all of our earnings deductions, they can be tied out to default cost centers. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. It's always going to rate multiply it to, thus being certified payroll double time. So that's the first thing, is to get your certified earnings set up specific to certified payroll. And again, just a best practice, or definitely my recommendation would never to be to say, oh, I just want one earning across the board for regular for the whole company. And sometimes this guy or gal do or don't work in certified pay situations. I just think they're so isolated that you wouldn't really want to try to force the certified earning to work across the board, but that's up to you. Another key company setting that is involved with the certified payroll is in global setup, company setup, payroll. You are saying which definition area or cost center area that the work classification code is going to be defined under. So I chose for my experiment and quality purpose testing to say the work classification is going to be at level 1. So that's just the default. So this is really the only payroll setting code specific to certified work classification, other than making the earning itself certified. So some caveats, and I'm taking this from page 11 of the release notes, just general best practice and things for you to know about certified payroll in our system, is the certified cost center must be used with the certified earning. You're going to see that when I'm in a pay statement and I try to have a certified earning and I'm not tying it out to a certified cost center, I'm going to get an error on the pay statement. I'm not going to be able to proceed. And then the certified cost center itself must be used in conjunction with a work classification cost center. And I'm going to take you there and show you those just momentarily. Hours on that line are required. An hourly rate is required. The earning date range must be a single day. So you're going to say from 5/5 to 5/5. So you're identifying the beginning and ending of that work day by date. The earning day must fall within the pay period date range, which is a 1-week range. The payroll pay period date range must be 7 days. And the pay statement pay period date range must fall within the payroll pay period date range, which is pretty much assumed, but a point of interest. The project itself must be certified for the entire payroll period date range. And by project, I'll show you that when we get into the cost center area. So again, we've covered the regular earning. I used a double pay situation. I marked it as certified, and I gave it a certified payroll category. And then we will move on to the cost centers. So in general, I'll just go back out to the menu. I'm going to end up in the same area, but just to kind of reintroduce that file path, global setup, company setup, I can jump right to cost centers, or I can be in my company setup, company configuration, and I can get to my settings for cost centers. So I've already identified certified job, work classification, et cetera. So then to jump to those settings, the biggest thing here is that you're going to need to enable address. So maybe that's possibly something you've not been used to doing, or maybe don't have a need to do in any normal situation. You're saying, hey, the company default work address has always been good enough. Well, a caveat of a certified work payroll report is that the address for the work site must be enabled and accounted for. We choose to do that through the cost center. So that's one thing on the settings. You're going to want to make sure that that is enabled. So we'll just jump to that first cost center tree 1 here, and I have a certified test. A CRT is what I've called it. I could tie it out to workers' compensation if possible. What makes a certified cost center visible or not visible in the drop-down list on the pay statement is this as well. So now we get down into the job code settings, and these are the items that start coming into play in being specific with regard to that certified payroll. So there needs to be a job code. It needs to be flagged as certified. I understand that we already flagged the earning, and again, you would think that using a certified earning is good enough, but really we're taking this cost center and identifying the cost center as certified. the project name and number, whether this is a contractor or subcontractor. And so when we're talking about those dates, beginning and ending, you don't have to have an end date, but if the project is done and the reports are no longer necessary, you certainly can end date it. But what they're saying, in order to use this code from the cost center area regarding this job, that you have to have a date in here that encompasses the pay period that you're trying to pay that in. So this is an 8/1 date. You're going to see today that I'm going to be processing a May 13th payroll. Because it's not end dated, I'm not going to have any problem using this code. If I end date it and it doesn't include the May 13th date, then that's where I'm going to run into issues. And again, the ability to account for that worked at site within the cost center tied out to that certified test cost center. Okay, I'm going to just backtrack from here, and then I'm going to move into the job or work classification settings. So this is the work classification tree. I didn't need the settings, I needed the tree itself. So what are the classifications? There needs to be a work classification tied out to that certified payroll. So is this person an apprentice? Is this person doing floor work, a foreman on the job? Is he doing framework, journeyman, roofer? These are all just examples. Other things might come into play, but again, it can be tied out to workers' comp code and in a note here to use. Certified cost centers must be set up on the same tree and level. A certified cost center is already set up on certified level job 1. So I'm going to pause here because I'm going to be moving out of cost centers. So either through questions, you could submit by typing, or if you want to raise your hand, I'm more than willing to unmute you individually and take questions at this time as well. But the next place we're going to move is to certified payroll and pay statement entry. So far, no takers, but I'll keep my eye on that. So in the Manage Payroll area, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to review an already created and finalized payroll. So we'll just take a look at this real quick and how it ties out, and we'll run the report. And then we're going to come back in because I don't want to just show you a bunch of flat screens with data that's already been processed. I do want to show you the interactivity on the pay statement and how much difficulty you're going to have if you've not tied it out to the certified areas, and or if you're just trying to use a regular type earning or use a certified earning but not have it tied out to the proper cost center. So there's all sorts of pitfalls with that. So this was processed and closed back when I was testing this, but really what I want to do is get into the Add Edit pay statement types and just show you kind of visually the difference here. So if I move into the Mickey Mouse payroll, and obviously this is, my test environment, so these aren't real people. And I do have a question, so just give me one moment, and I'll go ahead and take that. And Jenny's question is, what is the certified payroll category used for on the earnings code? And that's a great question. I'll have to verify that for you. In testing, I just found that something had to be there. It might be on the back end, might be a developer requirement so that they can tie back to it, or it could be something as simple as maybe you would be doing more than one certified payroll in a single company, and it may be a code unique to you where you can identify that with that payroll earning. But Jenny, I will absolutely confirm that for you, and I'll confirm any questions that are on the call today and get back to all of you about that. Great question, and thanks for asking. So the legend here, I know we're used to the pay statement view, but when we get into the certified view, definitely that certified job has to be attached to the payroll. And so like I said, I promise you in an interactive way, I'll show you kind of some of the pitfalls if it's not. But some key components here is you have to use the certified earning. If I tried to bring a regular earning in here and tie it out to a certified job, it's not going to work. When an earning is certified, the entire pay statement has the ability to have a date from and a date to, and it's got to be a 24-hour range for those hours. So if he worked 5 days this week, all just on regular pay, there would be 5 entries, 8-6, 8-7, 8-8, 8-9, etc. So per day, they're going to be hours, and then if that person on that day worked 4 hours in one area and 4 hours in another, meaning that they need to be tied out to a different certified job, you could end up with multiple entries on a single day. It's quite involved, very specific. We programmed the system to, and when I say by we, I mean the developers programmed the system to absolutely account for all of the federal requirements in the spec. So we definitely have followed it to the letter, to a T. And so if overtime is a caveat and tracked daily, then again, you're going to account for that daily, the hours worked, the rate, and then what it is tied out to as far as the certified job on that pay statement. So again, this is a view of a finalized certified payroll. So when I go to my reports, payroll certified, the buffering right now is go to meeting, so I want you to know that these screens are taking some time to load, but it has to be the webinar environment because I've just walked through all this at my desk and I didn't have any lag time at all. So here, what do I want to run this certified payroll report on? It defaults to last finalized, but I want to show you what the report for that payroll is that I just processed, and how that this is the official U.S. Department of Labor form. It's pulling from that pay statement. We have accounted for a huge wraparound on names because I know that's a specific challenge, and it was a caveat, and we tested and tested and tested that to make sure that it accommodated that, because that would be critical to all of you in processing. And then here you're starting to see, well, what were the days of the week, days 1 through 7? That's not the date of the week associated. That is day 1 through 7 of the pay period that's being accounted for in this certified payroll. And then the total hours, rate of pay, the gross earned, FICA withholding, and then the net wages paid for the week on that specific item. So again, this is definitely pulling directly from, and if you want to know dates, it's just going to tell you here, week ending 8/7, even though it paid on the 10th. Certified payrolls are always weekly. And I do see another question, so I'm going to go ahead and try to grab that before I move on. And then we'll move into a live payroll, meaning active and current, so you can kind of see what's happening. And maybe some of you have experienced that frustration to some degree on your own if you've been in here and trying to operate. Okay, so I'm going to return back to the Manage Payroll screen. Well, that's not a good situation. Let me just mute myself very quickly and find out if there's an issue with Dev 1. I'm going to pause my screen briefly. Rudy, can you find out if Dev 1 is, I'm using it for my webinar right now. Can you just Skype somebody really quick? And if it is down, I need to know an exact time of regrouping so that I can either end the webinar or tell them it'll be 3 minutes or whatever, and they can check their emails. Yeah.
Are you doing it live?
Mm-hmm. I'm recording it.
Hey, Greg. Don't take step 1 down right now. We're using step 1 as a live with clients right now to
webinar
presentation on certified payroll. How long do you think it'll be? Less than 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll look in this. All right, everybody, here's the deal. We're going to take an unanticipated 5-minute restroom, soda, coffee, check your emails break, and we're going to reconvene at 1:30 because they had to reset something on Dev 1 and didn't realize that I was presenting, but they have assured me they'll have the system back up in 5 minutes. So I'm going to stop the recording. We'll reconvene at the bottom of the hour, and we'll move forward from there. I apologize sincerely, and I thank you in advance for your patience. So this is to go into a live payroll, kind of show you some of the pitfalls of maybe when you don't have it set up right, some of the nasty error messages that you don't want to receive, but happen to get anyway. And we'll kind of walk through that together. So I am in this pay statement for Mickey Mouse, and so I have want to use the certified regular and maybe put in 5 hours and then try to save my pay statement. Again, the buffering definitely is the webinar because out at my desk when I was verifying Dev 1 being back up, it was as quick could be. Well, that was not the result I got when I was practicing. So it is tied out to the job. Let me go back one screen here, add a new pay statement on someone else. I'm pretty sure that I can recreate what I had done. This is making a liar out of me. Anything that I tried to do with a certified earning code earlier, let me grab that. Maybe this is the key here, to try to tie it out to a certified earning code. There we go. Okay. So trying to tie anything out to a certified job when you don't have all the components in place is where I was going. So I know it needs to be certified. I know I have my hours and my base rate. It is this column here that at the point for the pay statement that identifies this as a certified earning. So that's where the pay statement goes into the mode to check and say, hey, for certified earning records, the earning date range must be a single day. So it's telling us we have a problem here because we don't have a to and from date on that particular line and day. The certified cost center is used without a work classification cost center. And then the certified cost center is used without a certified earning, which is certified test. So we need it won't allow us to use this earning code. It won't take it because there are no to and from dates, and we are missing a work classification as well. So those are the items. So let's remove at least the bonus hours and create a clean line in a proper way, and we'll have some success here. So we have certified regular earnings. We need to cite this for the time period which we are paying for. And again, it's got to be that 1 day per entry. So each entry, and if they worked multiple certified jobs during that day, then they would have to account for those 2 different certified job codes. So what I'm wanting to do is go ahead and get rid of this certified test earning. As I said, it's labeling or tying me back to all these requirements. And so the only other thing is that the certified cost center is used without a work classification cost center. So I will see if I can pull it in here. If I can't, I'll just simply go back to the cost center. And again, one of the things that we were adamant about was the fact that you would be able to get to any of these lookups from the pay statement. This had not been in place prior to certified payroll, and I think the trouble it's giving me here is that work classification is not set up under the certified test, so I'll go ahead and fix that. But so really now you have the ability in all pay statements to look up from the cost centers, but just so you know, even though that's extremely desirable on any type of payroll, the reason was the qualification and the absolute necessity to be able to do that for the certified test. So right now we'll table this, and I will jump back and put that work classification under that cost center. And I do see a question, just so you know that I do see that, and I definitely will take that into account. Let me just try to tie that back to the pay statement, and then I will, as I said, take care of that question. And there I'm able to save it. So even though that was a little kind of chink in the armor, what it wanted was I had built those work classifications out, but it wanted it in the same tree at the same level to tie that out. So I'll go ahead and save my work here. And those, definitely are the tenets of what is required within that pay statement. Some of the troubleshooting or the errors you're going to run into if you don't have that in the shape or condition it needs to be. And let me just grab that question really quickly. And there were some others that came in on the break as well that we want to address. Okay, the current question, and then I'll go back to the ones that came in over the break, is there a current future enhancement coming to allow to key into the field for certified job and the like to allow for quicker entry? I believe there's an enhancement ticket created, and it may have even been created by the person that asked the question. And if it wasn't, it's happened very recently. So if it wasn't by you, Connie, it's happened kind of in this same week with regard to our HR product as well. So definitely we have had that enhancement request, and it's been passed upline to the developer. So what she's talking about, just to give you the visual, and I'll go back to that, is that, will we or can we make this a type-in list so that when I start going to certified test, it doesn't come here as I'm starting to type the word certified, that it would give me a drop-down with everything that's going to start matching that earning based on how I started typing it. So definitely, within this past week, if you're not the person that submitted that ticket, you're very, very on point, because that has definitely come up. And I agree, Connie, that it would allow for quicker entry. So let me go back to my entire tree here. Does the pay period need to be Sunday through Saturday? I just know it's a 7-week period. I personally don't know the federal regulations. I would be happy to look that up, go out and Google that for you. definitely I know it has to be the 7-week period. If the 7 days of the week are Sunday through Saturday or Monday through Sunday, I would need to clarify that for you, but I would be happy to do that. And then another question that came in is, just to clarify, a certified payroll must be a weekly payroll, correct? Absolutely, 100%. That is a caveat of a certified payroll, cut and dried, no way around it. We did have this come up, and we did test something, in a biweekly nature, the ability to cut or condense and have them separate out weeks. That's not the issue. The issue is, with that weekly payroll, you have to have, or the person that scheduled the certified work has to have that money in their hands within that 7-day period following, or the penalties of not doing that. My brother worked the Galveston tornadoes, and any day that he did not have that money in his hands as an electrical worker, the fee was like $400 a day more in his pocket. So the caveat of the certified payroll absolutely is 7 days, and not only 7 days, there's a cut and dried rule about when that has to be in the hands. So there's no benefit to open a biweekly payroll and to track them as individual weeks, because of the fact that that payroll's got to be out the door, ACH'd, or that live check has to be in the end union certified person's hands within that time frame. So that's why it's so cut and dried. It's not a limitation we've put on it or that we don't want to provide for you to be able to do. It is just a situation that is already mandated. So I do see, for some reason, I just want to let all of you know the difficulty I'm having with the questions is they're just kind of inserting themselves randomly in my questions box. So all I mean about that is they're not kind of showing up in order, so I'm going to have to filter back through. So I see a new question in there. I just have to very quickly. Okay. Any enhancements expected for the date from or date to fields to just be days of the week, since the batch dates are already identified when creating the batch? The system could hypothetically know the calendar day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, associated with the days in the pay period. That is a great question and would be a great feedback ticket. I can give you a definitive answer to that no, currently there is no enhancement intended for that. But as explained, Horatio, definitely could see that as a very valid thing. And our programmers love those kind of challenges. I know you've met them. I know you know how they think. And so anything that's got that little twist or challenge to it that they know is going to make all of your lives easier, definitely they are on board with giving it a go. So again, let me go through here. David Miller is calling me out. He said, you entered the work classification on the wrong row. Well, yes, let's go back and take a look at that. Let me do that right now. Was I in a different pay statement? Let me check that really quick. It's gone altogether. Let me try that one more time. Sorry about that for everybody that's on the call. Yeah, it's pulling it in, and it is on the certified earning row. So I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, Dave, here, because it is on the certified regular pulled in. So it's only going away because I didn't have this. Yeah, I need to get rid of the work classification from my previous non-attempt. But yeah, the only reason they were disappearing altogether is I did not have that work classification saved in my view. This would be kind of no harm, no foul, just so you all know. With that bonus earning, it would be kind of weird that it would tie out to work classification code. The work classification code is a caveat of certified job. So the fact that certified job was not selected here, that independently of it, in and of itself, would not lock down that earning to certified. But David, great catch, very detail-oriented, and I appreciate that very much. So let me go back here to questions. And again, as I said, I completely apologize for the fact that they're so out of order. So let me make sure. I'll verify if the pay periods are Sunday through Saturday. Horatio definitely put in that ticket. I think that's a great enhancement request for having the pay statement default. Connie, as I said, if you're not the person that did the enhancement request for the type-in on the cost centers that was submitted this week, certified payroll must be 1 week, a 7-day period. We need to verify what that certified earning payroll code is used for, that 2-digit code on the certified earning. So I think I'm caught up with questions now. And then when I go back to my reports and the certified payroll, and then I can look at currently being delivered. So I can see, I don't have to wait till the payroll is finalized. I can come in here. And it's always going to show their gross amount earned in conjunction with, they could still have regular earnings on their paycheck, so this is really important to know. They could have bonuses, they could have regular and overtime that's unassociated with the certified earnings. The certified payroll report is only going to look at, register, and account for the certified portion of those earnings, if that makes sense. And it will maybe say what their total gross was, but it's only going to record or pay attention to, from a certified payroll report aspect, the gross amount for the certified hours worked on that individual day or days. So with that, that definitely completes, the presentation of kind of going through the workflow of that from the standpoint of why you want to be very isolated in setting up those certified earnings, whether they're regular, overtime, double time. You want to always identify, again, at the company settings level, that company setup in payroll default, which site, which definition will be the work classification within the tree, and then setting up those cost centers as we had viewed. The huge caveat to the cost centers, everyone, is on that first level here is when you enable this certified area is when you get all the certified. If I go into host and hostess here, and this is not a certified job, you can see the blandness or the fact that it's very nondescript. It is actually making it a certified job that opens up all the other pieces of information so critical and so pertinent to the certified cost center. So if you're wondering, how that happens or why, or how you would know or not know, it's just that I'm telling you, or in the release notes we're saying, that you have to click the certified cost center and enable that aspect of it. So that is another good thing, good reason to be on the training call today. And I'm just running down my notes very quickly for a final check to see if I've missed anything. Yep, that would be it for my part of the presentation. We have more questions, so let me go ahead and grab that really quick. Am I correct in saying, here's the question, that there can be an unlimited amount of classifications and jobs? Also, where is the project number put that populates on the report? So let's take a look at that report together. Great question. Connie, are you saying the project number, I'm not sure I'm understanding your question. Is the project number put in this cost center, so you're asking where it shows up here on the report, or the opposite? If you could just type me another question or even a chat. I saw somebody raise their hand, so I can do it that way too. David, I'm trying to unmute you, so let me keep working with that. David Miller, if I've unmuted you, please speak. If I have not, then I apologize. Yeah, Connie, I'm trying to unmute you as well, but that function is not working. So let me try one more time. I should be able to click to unmute, and it's just not letting me do that. My apologies. And Connie, I am going back to the questions box. I see someone submitted another question. Do the employees need to be assigned to the certified cost centers, or can you just enter it in the payroll? Great question, Vicki, and that's the purpose of the lookups within the pay statement. So absolutely not. They do not need to be assigned at all. And the whole point is it's the certified earning when you're starting that earning line on the pay statement. So you click the drop down, you say regular, certified overtime, et cetera. That's what starts the ball rolling with knowing that it's going to follow all those caveats. And so when you go to certified job or work classification, you can just, from that lookup list, select the proper. They do not need to be assigned those cost centers. Great question. Okay, so Anne-Marie is kind of piggybacking on Connie's comment and saying, hi, Marie, the project number 123456 that is stored as a cost center tree in the job settings area. I definitely cannot speak to that as far as the report itself. You know, at this point, I'm the QA'er of the product, but here it's here. So it's saying that the cost center is tied out to the project itself. But at this point, you know, honestly, I can only answer specific functionality questions. There is no part of me from a, you know, being in a service bureau or having processed certified payrolls that I'm going to be able to really answer processing questions. I just know the software, what the software does. I completely understand your need to understand or further clarify the functionality, but all that I can say is that the project or contract number here is pulling definitely from that cost center, but the correlation of the two or why it does or what the significance of that is on the report, definitely I really can't expand my comments comfortably on that subject at all. Any more questions at all? I know we're just kind of wrapping up here on the hour we had slated. I will apologize again for the mini break that was unanticipated. So let me see what hands are raised here. And David still has his hand raised. David, I'm doing what I can do to unmute you, but I'll tell you what, it's just not in the cards here today. I don't get that. I've tried right-clicking. I've tried everything to unmute. So let me see if there's a different task that will allow me to. And I will apologize to all of you. I'm not at my desk, so I'm not near my phone. If it's a control that I need to to do on my phone. I'm not going to be able to accomplish that. What does the move button do? The move button, great question. The very first thing I will tell you is it's not anything that any of you would ever have access to. The move button is me in my Dev 1 environment. I have that ability in the cost center to move something up under another tree. So if I had built out tree 1 and have tree 2, I could move up under. But it's specific to testing, and it's definitely not available in the live environment at all. So great catch there. I wish I could tell you, hey, it's coming functionality. It was this cool feature, but I can't do that, unfortunately. Okay. I'm willing to still take more questions through the questions box, and or we'll forget about the unmuting. I wasn't able to accomplish that, but either chat to me directly and or ask more questions here till the top of the hour. We do have 5 more minutes, and I will review the questions as I make sure that but yeah, anything that we discussed that's not in the system that you feel would be beneficial, absolutely go ahead and submit that as a feedback ticket specific to PRHR certified payroll. And as I've traversed this, I'm getting people telling me to have a great weekend, so I think that people are jumping ship here, which is fine. It's Friday. I completely understand. And we should be good to go here. There aren't any outstanding questions. We sure appreciate you jumping on and your patience with the slight break given to us in our Dev 1 test environment here today. So you all have a great weekend. The recording will be posted out on the download and distribution by Monday. And so if you have people in your office that didn't get to partake, they can certainly dial up that recorded session and have access to that as well. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.